I'm Darcy Bachgard with Prairie Public Broadcasting.
And I'm Mecca Wallace-Spurgeon with Iowa Public Television.
I'm going to highlight some of my favorite go-to resources for English language art.
Darcy, can you tell us a little bit about what we're taking a look here at in terms of general collections and classic connections?
Of course. So first, I have these organized. These should be pretty K-12 resources, and these general collections are those things that really cross grade levels. There's a lot of different stuff that would work for a lot of different teachers. I think a lot of people are familiar with the Crash Course series. And yes, you can access these on YouTube, but I like accessing them here because of the built-in functionality of PBS LearningMedia. So I love that I have this direct connection. I love that it's all here. And if YouTube is blocked at my school, I can still get these videos. So I don't have to worry about it. But Crash Course is pretty all-consuming. I just love how these brothers break down the classics. They're so funny. I've never had a class of kids not enjoy watching these videos.
So if I were to click on a link, I'm a classroom teacher, and I click on a link, it will take me to a video.
Yep. You do have a little description of that video. You've got some of the standards that this video is covering. And depending on the video, you'll also have some other resources here. So we'll show you some of those as we go through some of these different formats. And then you just have this video. And like right next to it, you see like this is part 1. So part 2 kind of automatically loads in this sidebar for you of something else that you would like. But I love this collection because it's great humorous overviews that I would use either to get kids interested. Like sometimes I would watch not the whole video because there are a lot of spoilers, obviously. They go through the entire plot. So sometimes I would just use the first like minute or two where they give the general overview of this book. And then I would use more of the video as we got into our discussions.
So if I'm a classroom teacher and I want to share this with my students, I notice that there's a share button. I can favorite, and I can also integrate this with my Google Classroom very nicely, it looks like.
It's so slick. This is, like I said, this is why I think using this collection from PBS LearningMedia is more convenient than using it from YouTube. So all of these Crash Course videos are on YouTube as well. But now I can assign this directly to a Google Classroom. I can share it to the class that I want to share it to. I can assign or share it. So I always have a Remind account. So I love this one-click button. You syncs up with your Remind. So we watch this video in class, and I want to share it with everyone who is absent. And to some extent, more importantly, I want to share it home with parents so that they know what we talked about and could maybe actually discuss something with their middle school or high schooler. I can share it there. I can also post it to a class social media account. So again, I'm just sharing the information more widely, and it's just one click.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's the Crash Course series. These other general collection series I've kind of taken the bulk of Englishy topics, right? So there's the Great American Read collection, and this was a program that was on a year ago. There are kind of more elementary school titles, like books that tend to be taught more in elementary school, books that tend to be taught in middle school. And a lot of middle school teachers, if you're looking at that, Call of the Wild, Little Women, The Outsiders, To Kill a Mockingbird. Some of these, if you're looking for books, go over. Because I've taught at schools where To Kill a Mockingbird is sophomore curriculum. I've taught it with seniors. And I know that sometimes it is taught in 7th or 8th grade. So kind of scroll through the titles because you might not agree with the label that they're put into. But these then have a variety of resources that are connected to that text that are kind of organized from all over LearningMedia, but are some great resources to go through for any of those books.
So I might find a video, I might find a complete lesson plan.
Yeah, we've got some videos here. We've got this great Socratic seminar set up. We've got some primary source sets. So you click on these, and then this is going to be one that you're going to launch. And then that will take you into this whole set of resources about Their Eyes Were Watching God. And now you have the resources that are here, like these original texts, these articles and photographs. So it's just a very rich, very diverse collection, The Great American Read. Every book has different types of resources, and some of the books have more than others. So you can see 1984 only has this one video resource for it. But as you saw with Their Eyes Were Watching God, there was a ton. So check those out for any of your novel units, things that you're reading. There's some great poetry collections, and so same things. It's recordings of famous people reading poems. I've thrown in here just some of the other richer resources. I think this American Masters has a lot of biography information about famous authors. So this is just another nice generic collection. Maybe a little less content. This might be one of those I'm guilty of every once in a while. If I know I'm going to be gone, I need a lesson that is contributing and moving the knowledge forward, but is pretty hands-off and easy for a sub to orchestrate. I feel guilty saying that, but some of these resources might be things I would use in that situation.
So here, for example, within the Ken Burns collection that you're putting here, so we see some videos, images, biographies, activities, and so on. So who actually puts these resources within PBS LearningMedia? Can I trust the content that is here?
I think that's a great question. My opinion is yes, because anything that's here on PBS LearningMedia was a resource, most of which was produced for PBS. Some of them are audio resources produced for NPR. Every once in a while, there are additional resources that were created for local stations. But in general, I trust PBS. I trust the content that PBS is producing. I know everything that Ken Burns does. He's not doing light, tiny little dives into a topic. He is spending, for the Vietnam War, he is spending years, and he's producing a 16-hour narrative. This is not scratch the surface clickbait journalism. This is the best journalism that's out there. So I trust these resources because I do trust that PBS has a pretty high standard for what they put on air.
It sounds like a great collection that would be very, very helpful to English language arts.
Yes, this says teaching U.S. history and culture, but don't let that scare you away from. I have some grammar resources, this no-nonsense grammar, and these are really nice, super short videos for grammar and teaching grammar. So you can see, I won't play this one.
This one, and this is really good.
Yeah, 48 seconds.
Very engaging.
Nice, quick. I'll let this play while I just talk. Quick explanation. Great video, funny of how they're putting it together, but a 48-second video. So again, I might just teach my lesson. I may or may not use this video for the lesson itself, but because of these quick share buttons, these short little videos are a great way for me to send this as a remind home. It's a great thing for me to share to the Google Classroom of like, hey, review this video, and then maybe the assignment is write your own sentence that uses a hyphenated convention. Like, right? And so it could become the homework that I'm using. But those no-nonsense grammar videos, I guarantee you're going to find something in teaching grammar and conventions that you would be able to use from that collection alone.
When you're looking for a resource, is there something specific that you're looking for when you're trying to find a resource?
Yeah, because PBS Learning Media has so much on it, I'm looking for some of these collections. I'm kind of looking for a couple key resources personally that I know I'm going to be able to use for multiple situations. I've tried to focus down on some of these collections because they have a lot of resources, like the Great American Read. I can use that Great American Read collection in all of my English classes. I really want a good video that is going to quickly and succinctly explain something and help engage my learners.
Perfect. Media literacy. Why is media literacy so important in your opinion?
I've always thought that media literacy was very important, but in an era where we are inundated both with actual fake news and things that are being generated by bots and by foreign governments, but also in an era where we have politicians declaring anything that they don't like as fake news, that it's even more vital that students are aware of how to decode media. And so this is a pretty diverse collection. A lot of this is still resources from PBS Learning Media. Some of these are just my other go-to resources as an English teacher that I wanted to share. So Newsella is a separate website entirely that's all about news articles that are curated for students. So they have some great collections really across the subjects. They have math collections and science collections. You can adjust and search by grade level. But if you're looking for articles for your students to read, this is a great resource. And then this middle bar here, these are the most of the learning media resources or other, again, PBS content producers. So the lowdown and Above the Noise are produced by KQED Education. And I love Above the Noise because I have found that students really struggle picking out research paper topics. And these are really topical videos. You can see they're designed for middle school through high schoolers. And they ask a burning question. Would banning plastic bottles help or hurt the planet? Right? And then you can see it's a pretty short, you click on it and it will have the video. Their videos are about, this is a longer one. They're usually, but they're in that 4 to 8 minute range. They're pretty short. You can see they'll have support materials. Here, these are a little bit, we were talking about some videos have more or fewer resources. These are gonna have more, and they just have a wide variety of topics. But look at some of these things. Why wouldn't you want to be talking to your students about that? Is the internet making you meaner? When is your brain ready for social media? Like, these are things, screen time, YouTube algorithms, the phony videos of, there's so many topics in here that the gene editing, school dress codes, there's some school suspensions. There are a lot of videos in here. They are listening to what teenagers are talking about, and they're producing content that has researched information on both sides of the argument and outlining both perspectives in an issue. So they provide really a perfect jumping off point for students to do a debate.
So I'm a classroom teacher, and I say to you, well, why is it important for me to use media in my classroom? Do you have anything to say about that?
I think in general, for me as a teacher, I think it's important to just use different things in your classroom. If you're doing the exact same thing all day, every day, you're gonna get bored as a teacher. I think that's boring, at least as a teacher. I need some stuff that's gonna be a little bit different so that I stay engaged and excited. And I know that the more excited I am about what I'm teaching, the more likely kids are to get excited about what I'm teaching. So from the selfish standpoint, I think you use media for the same reason that you also use videos and you use photographs, and sometimes you bring in objects, and sometimes you play Pictionary, and sometimes I would have students literally do vocabulary dances in my classroom, and sometimes you role play, and sometimes you have discussions, and sometimes you lecture, and sometimes, but by doing all of these little different things, sometimes you're keeping things fresh. So I think that's important from a teaching standpoint. More importantly, from a learner standpoint, is it also keeps it fresh for learners.
Sure.
We know that our learners are digital natives, but a lot of our students are not digitally savvy. And so whether you're teaching media literacy explicitly or just using a video in order to launch a discussion or, spark something in your classroom, teaching students how to read different types of texts is very important. And this is helping meet them where they're at. If I can find a video like the 50-second hyphen video, if there's a 50-second video that teaches students what I want to teach them, but it's going to be more engaging, probably more succinct, and has the ability for students to watch it over and over and over again if they missed part of it, why wouldn't I give them that tool and save myself that time and help them learn something better than I would be able to teach it on my own? So I just think that using media, and when I say media, I mean all kinds of media. So like I said, video, infographics, photographs, objects, advertisements, podcasts. I think using any of these types of media just help keep us fresh. We're not relying on outdated textbooks. We're getting fresh, up-to-date information that is in a format that connects with our students and simultaneously allows us to teach them a valuable overall life skill of just how to interact with these different types of media. So we get the benefit of great content, we stay energized, the kids are engaged, and plus we're teaching them how to read and absorb all types of different information.
All really great points.
There are also some general resources. This Center for Media Literacy is, again, not a PBS LearningMedia resource. This is the agency, a nonprofit that organizes media literacy resources for educators. So I've also included that resource here because I think it's invaluable.
Very nice. Thank you, Darcy. Do you have any other resources or general statements to share with the good of the group?
I think I've gushed a lot. I hope it's clear that I just think that there's a lot out there on learning media. Over the course of the school year, it's definitely a go-to resource because I know it can enhance so many of my lessons, so many of my units, and really help me engage students more authentically with the content. And frequently, it's also a time saver for me. I don't want to have to scour YouTube and have to watch every second of a video to know if its language is appropriate for me to play in class.
Sure, that's a very good point.
I know that it's going to be good content. I know it's going to be well produced, and I know it's going to be produced in a way that is very appropriate for any classroom.
Well, thank you so much. A great set of resources.
Thank you. I hope that everybody tuning in finds at least one thing that they can use in the classroom.